Good evening, everyone. My name is Pamela Osby, aka Mocha Sister. I'm a writer and I'm a podcast content creator here on YouTube. I am the host of Speak Truth to Life podcast, where we talk about creativity, life, and everything in between. Tonight, we are honored to have in our midst a actual best-selling author. I can only, one day I will be, but I'm still self-published, so it's all good. But Julius Thompson is no stranger to writing. He has several books out there, and his book is called Purple Phantoms. It's in the young adult genre with a rarity. It actually has at the forefront Black male characters. So the synopsis of the story is basically five ghosts who were once young basketball players. They died too early. They're given a chance of redemption to go back to life and return back to life. They inhabit the bodies of five living basketball players to inspire, to motivate the five starters to a coveted state championship. This story has a little bit of everything. It talks about obstacles and some of the things that our youth deal with. Now, having taught youth, I used to talk to my youth all the time about redemption, life, making mistakes, and making your own chart, your own way in life. And so, Julius Thompson has done a great book that encompasses not the traditional storytelling, and no slight to anyone, but sometimes in the genre of writing, we see more Black males in stories about the street life, where people are like on the block, hot rocks and all that. We're not doing that here. This is a nice story that kind of uses the backdrop of the basketball story to talk about, kind of like youth development and things that they go through. And these people can come back and kind of have an impact. Sometimes in life, when you make mistakes, you don't get a chance sometimes to make it over. So I'm going to bring in our author and we're going to get this started. Good evening, Julius. How are you doing?
Great, Pam. I want to thank you so much for inviting me to this exceptional program. I feel honored, and I think we have a great conversation tonight.
Awesome. So, I'm going to go do some traditional and non-traditional questions, of course. Um, but first of all, how did you come up with the concept for Purple Phantoms?
Pam, I've been a basketball coach for almost, I hate to say, you see the gray beard, 30 years. And over that time, Pam, I've had to bury some basketball players.
Mm-hmm.
In Philadelphia, where the young man he ran down the court and went up for a layup and died of a heart attack. And we buried him in his uniform. The most tragic one was a young man at Jackson County High School named James Brown. And every morning he'd come by my room, I teach English, and I say, I feel good. He said, I feel good. And we did that his whole freshman year.
That's awesome.
And then Pam, in spring break, him and his cousin were going to a basketball game up in the hilly area around Atlanta, up above Jackson County. And the young man made a bad decision, the cousin did. He tried to pass a truck on a 2-lane highway, and there was a cement truck coming straight at him. And the only good thing, yes, ma'am. The only good thing about that was the doctor said they died before the truck even hit them. They just stroked, just killed them. So they didn't feel anything. And so I went to the funeral, and I had to bury another basketball player, and teared up a little bit because no one younger than you should be dying like that. And they should live longer. They should be the one living. And so over the years, I've seen and read about other players. There was a young man in Phoenixville who was a great player across the street and was killed. So, and over the years, and I've been a writer, and I like to take different kind of topics because I was a journalist before I was a writer. I worked for the New York Times for a while.
Wow.
And so I wanted to, so I wanted to say, what would happen if they had a second chance to do something. And I wanted to come up with unique. I coach basketball, so I could use basketball as a backdrop. I could use the basketball. I know all the sport well. I can do that. I deal with inner city kids from inner city Philadelphia who had to carry knives and guns in their bags so they can get home from practice, to suburban players. So I coach all levels and all races and all kinds of people. And so I said, what would happen if they could come back and have a dream season? And so I had the idea. I said, you know what? I'm going to make up this team. I've seen ghosts and people. This could be interesting. This could catch attention.
Right.
And so what I did was I started to come up with the idea. And then I saw a quote, a poem, because I teach English. And I'm going to read the poem to you. It says, look to the sky at night, not with your eyes, but with your heart, and witness a star that twinkles more than any other. And I thought about, you know what? Those are basketball players playing basketball in the sky.
Right,
right. Yeah, and it went from that point on. And I tell you, when you're a writer, Pam, you understand, once you get really into your fictive dream and get your going, they almost take over. Right. And so one night I'm writing, and I could swear something was looking over my shoulder, and I was writing. And
once
that was the best.
I mean, it's like you said, once you start writing, it's like they take over, and it's like they're operating through our bodies as writers. They haunt us. Like the ghosts. Like they actually, like when you think you're gonna put down a pen or stop writing, it's not done until they say it's done type of situation. Only writers understand what I'm saying. But they follow you. They follow you until their story is written, until they are done. So, yeah.
And they will not let you do something that they wouldn't do. I mean, it's amazing when you get to that point in the story. So as the story goes along, then I came up with the idea about inhabiting, but it had to be coexistence. And I had the idea to coach. I coach that I really admire, and he's the coach in this. He was a guy from Philadelphia that worked with inner city kids, and so I said, I put it together. And the one unique thing is, and I won't give it all away, there is a great female player who died, and she's one of the ghosts. That's all I'm gonna say.
Ooh, that's good. I like that.
And good. People have read it, have been shocked, stunned, and said, "Wow!" So it's in there. So I did a lot of the things like that. But then I wanted to give those kids a chance, to really breathe again, to run down the floor, to see the lights, to sweat, just to show. And also, it's a book about how a town is separated by race, and there's problems. And one of the ghosts is white, and it's issues there, and I attack those issues. But teaching in a small town, I knew what it was and how to attack it. And I had some of the players, really go after it, and that aspect is in there. But it's to give young people a chance that if you get a chance, take it. That's my main thing. Take the chance. Take the chance. Don't fall back. Don't do something that's crazy. Take the chance. And I had a lot of young people read the story and really like it. And it's just a YA book, Pam, but it's also a lot of people older, my age and younger, all the way down, reading the book, and they get something from the book. And I think that is the key thing. Anytime we write, is that people get things from that book that can help them develop, And I've been an English teacher. I make sure everything is correct because I want them to read. And also, there's not many young adult books by Black males, not at all. I mean,
look, I used to teach poetry. I'm from Chicago, and I used to teach. I was a teaching artist, and I used to hide in the library because I worked in a hood, and there was often drama. So when the
Mhm.
fights broke out, me and the quote unquote smart kids, we would just go to the library, and I would
Yes.
be reading books and pulling books out. I ain't never seen too many books in the YA category because basically that's what I was looking for. I was looking for
Right.
youth driven stories. And I'm like, what? We ain't got nothing in here, especially from black male authors. And the
No.
ones that are there are just like,
And the
uh,
thing, Pam,
very funny.
you make some great points, and it triggers an idea, and it triggers something in my mind. I met this lawyer online, and she works with the youth in Philadelphia, and they set up a library in Philadelphia for inner city young youth, and to help them.
So we're having some technical
Wanted a
difficulties.
book about
Okay.
basketball.
Okay.
Right. We wanted books about basketball and life. And that's what I tried to do, was to give basketball and make it realistic, but also make it something that people can relate to and they can see. And from teaching English, it's hard to find. It's like every year when I teach freshmen now, and we read before hip hop was hip hop, and by Walker, Alice Walker's daughter, and
Yeah.
we do a lot of that. And I teach in a diverse school, so we do a lot of Hispanic stuff. And so, but I wanted to do something that crossed all those lines, all the racial lines, no matter what you are. But it's a human quality, and this is my first attempt at a YA book, and I just
That's
wanted to.
wonderful, though. Because
Yeah.
I think because you did have the experience working with young people, so you can write a voice of a young person, and
Yes.
whatever age and ethnic group, because you understand the youth development as an adult, but you also worked one on one with young people, so you
Yes.
understand how they operate, so you can put that into a character. And then you also understand the genre of basketball and sports and what comes along with that as well. So,
And one great thing, this book has been nominated for the 2021 Reader's Favorite International Award, the Coretta Scott King Award, and the Alex Award. And it opened at
wow,
number 18.
congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank
Wow,
you.
that's good
And it opened at
stuff.
number
Good.
18 on Amazon, in the YA
Number
category.
18 on Amazon. Okay.
Opened
All
number 18.
right.
So hopefully that with your show and others, I can get the word out, and that people can understand this is a great read. And if you have a young male in the house, it's just something that they can read. Or it might be young male, be young female. I mean, be anybody that young. This is something they can read and to relate to, and they can understand what it is. And it's getting good reviews. I mean, I'm just surprised how well it's being received. How well it's been received.
Well, that's wonderful. And for it coming out the gate with the first one, you're setting the standard high.
Oh
That's good
yes.
though. If you do win, or if you can put a little sticker on the next edition. I'm just saying, know how we do. You know how
I
we
will. I
do.
will. I will.
I know you like how I think. Come on now.
I do. I
Put
do.
that on there.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. I love it. And I
So
gotta give
that's
a shout
great.
out to my editor, Dennis DeRose. He from New York. He's a New York editor. He was tough as I don't know what, but I got to give a shout out to him because he really helped me over some things in the book that was challenging, how to organize the book.
Now,
So
in terms of editing, with us writers, we're so personal with our content. Really don't want to have it edited at all because we think it's the bomb. But, you know, talk a little bit about why it's important to have an editor and how you partner with your editor to, take in the information they're doing and not taking things personal because
right.
it's work. Yeah.
Editor is very critical because when you write, you love every word, but you don't need every word. And so an editor helps you to pare down the words. And
Right.
also what editor does is he can see things that you don't see. He's reading it from a fresh eye. He can pick up mistakes that you make. For example, not in Purple Phantoms, but in my another book of Brownstone in Brooklyn, I had killed a person in the first chapter, and all of a sudden the person would have a dinner again in the 11th chapter. So the editor caught that and picked that up before it got out. before it got out. But those
consistency.
Also, yes. Also is grammar, is word usage, is do you have good word pictures? Is everything in sync? Does everything flow? So you need that person who's very critical. And that person look at you and say, listen, and I swear the words you really love, the passages you really love is the one that they say, no, 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 because it doesn't fit what you want.
They're going to tell the truth. They're going to tell you the truth, though.
So my editor has been with me for 10 years. 10 years.
Wow, that's great.
Yes, they're gonna tell you the truth, and you gotta accept the truth. You gotta be strong enough as a writer to accept, this does not work. This does not.
That's why I said don't take it personal, because I mean, I know one of the major mistakes a lot of writers do when they do their first book. This is not your first book. You've been writing for a while, but for emerging authors, they release their book. They don't want to pay for editing. They don't look at it. They feel like they can edit it themselves. You cannot self-edit your own material because you cannot look at it in the right way. You're looking at it with love and passion. You're not looking at it critical eye, line editing, and all the things that need to be done. So it is important. And as you said, you do not want to have something released and then on page 90, they find mistakes or there's not consistency, with the characters. I think that is very important that have a second, third pair of eyes on your material. Now, when you developed this manuscript, did you do any kind of like reading rounds with youth before you released it and say, hey, this is a proof, I need you to read it and give me your feedback? Because sometimes people do that. They will take the manuscript and have selected readers read it and then get feedback and then go back and do some more edits. I don't know. Everybody's different though.
Yeah, what I did was, and you're correct, I did. I had in my high school, I would have certain students read it who understood, who really love literature and like characters. They gave me good feedback, and they would be honest, Coach. Young people don't do that. That's back in your day. That's back in your day. We don't do that. We don't say that. No, Coach. No. Because
it has to be. It has to be for today, even though it's a universal story.
You got it.
If it's young people reading it today, they need to be able to relate with it. If it's not like it's not realistic, then they're going to be like, "No, this is not good at all."
Yes. You had to have cell phones. Anyway, what I did was once I do like 2 drafts, and after 2 drafts, I sent it to a proofreader, Pam, and the proofreader corrects all the technical. Right. That's all they look for is technical, not content.
Right.
And then I have another, not an editor, have a beta reader. And a beta reader reads it as if they were a reader reading it. And I get comments from that. And then I go back from the proofreading and from the beta reader. Then I do a draft. That's what I call the editor's draft. That means the editors don't worry about, did you misspell was? Did you have it was, it is, so all those things are corrected. So now your editor is really critical and really taking that product and really looking at it hard and really making sure. And so Dennis does a great job of that. He'll do it. Sometimes he's so critical, he'll just a typical New Yorker, like I am. He's typical New Yorker, and it's what comes to that mind comes out.
Ain't no filtering. There's no filter. It's just gonna come straight, no chaser, and just take it. Take it on the chin. Listen. It's not personal. It is trying to make you the best writer and have the best product. Because, I mean, I learned hard, don't release it without it being properly edited. People looking at like trying to do stuff like not spending the money. It's a great investment to have several editors, and each editor, as you spoke, serves a different purpose. Each
Yes. Yes.
literary professional, whatever you want to call it, you have the beta reader. They're going to read it as as an audience, like a reader,
Yes.
and they're going to catch that. And proofreader is different from the editor. And
Yes.
that's one of the things that a lot of people don't know unless they really get deep into understanding how to have their material at the best level,
And you have to have those different parts to you want to put a good product on the shelf, because this is you, and this book will be around long before I'll be gone. I'll be gone, and that book will still be there.
And book could be everywhere. Book could be in the
Execution,
library, be on
doing the
at the
best
dollar
job you
store.
can.
It be everywhere. It's gonna be somewhere. Somebody, they like, wait a minute, this look like a good book. Pull it and start reading it. So you're right, because it does last. So in terms
I tell you,
of
cute story.
in terms of a outline, I know sometimes authors use outlines, character outlines, and stuff like that. Did you build your characters using a character outline, or did you develop the story authentically and just wrote the characters, and just every chapter you just went that route?
Pam, I've over the years I've changed. When I wrote A Brownstone in Brooklyn, I had a recipe box and I had index cards, and I wrote down every scene from the very first chapter 1, scene 1, chapter 50. Yeah. And I said, nix this. That took too long. So what I do, I didn't say nix, I said something else.
I know.
So what I said, the other word. But what I did was I went and I get ideas. I'll just, for example, I'll number 1 to 40. And I put down ideas for each one. Chapter 1, this happened, that happened. Okay. And then I write from that.
Yeah, and that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. And I put that in a thumb drive. And what I do is sometimes, it depends on my mood. Like sometimes I may work on chapter 30. And then I may go back and work on chapter 1. I've learned over all the books that every book I've had 4 or 5 chapters flip-flop from beginning to the end of the book. So to me, that's nothing the editor does. Does it flow? Do your chapters flow from one to the other one? So I would go back and make sure, and once I write a chapter and do that first draft, then I go back and change and add, subtract, and then I'll build on that. And then the second draft, I'm using my first draft is about 30 to 33,000 words. And then the second draft is close, it's above 50. It's usually above 50. And if I want to go longer, because I learned from some great authors over the years, and they say, once the story is done. Some people say, well, I got to have 70,000 words. No, you don't. Once your story is done, it is done. That's when you get padding, and that's when people do not want to read. You're bored. You're boring now. You're not adding anything. The subject is not good.
Oh, yeah. See, I know what you get into, because sometimes people try to hit the numbers versus hitting the quality of the story. And so that takes the difference of the book that sometimes we don't finish because it's dragging on in the storytelling versus the story that just gets to the grime. It's like boom, 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 boom. The action, whatever, is a tightly wound story. And you're good. You're excited as a writer, and then your audience will be. And then there could be stories that could be too long and is not offering nothing from chapter to chapter. It's just like, I want to do 70,000 words or 100,000 words just to say I did X amount of pages in a book. But it may it may really not be real effective. So,
no. It's not effective at all, Pam. Not effective at all. What I tell people when they write, and not just a bit of writing advice, because I taught writing for a few years at Emory University, is when you write, get it out. Don't worry about it, how it sounds, how it's spelling, what it looks like. Just get it out. A great
Right.
writer told me, and it's great advice is you write garbage, but you edit brilliantly. So that means the edit, the magic comes. That's where the magic comes. But you can't write and edit. It's like you're trying to drive a car with the brakes on and the gas on. You can't do it. You got to just get it out. And that's not what a lot of people take time. I knew that from my first book. My first book took 4 years. And after that, every book takes a year and a half, 2 years, because you just got to get it out and go. You can't write and edit because it's going to change anyway.
It's going to drag down if you like write one chapter, edit, and I remember doing the outline, I guess, tool, and I could never finish the one story I was trying to finish because it was taking me too long to outline the characters. And I was like, man, don't do this ever again. I would say to anybody that's listening, please, if you're a writer, do your thing and figure out what you like to do, but don't just, don't listen to us. You can experience doing the outline if you want to. And if that works for you, great. You got a recipe book. I used to have a book that had like taglines. When I started, I didn't know how to write taglines. I didn't know how to do figurative language. So I was like, I had a book. It's a cheat sheet book where I'll say, oh, okay, I can start off this way and then, use different lines. Hey, do what works, but also I highly suggest you take some kind of creative writing course or something so you can know how to write and also take advantage of online opportunities. Every year there's a National Novel Writing month. It's in November, from November 1st to November 30th, I guess. And that's how I developed 2 of my novels. I'm a poet, but I got 2 novels done. And the only way I did it was because other people were encouraging me. And what would your suggestion to people who are really trying to do this, but they don't know where to start?
The first thing I would do is, as a writer, you have a story to tell. And I used to tell the writing class, you have a story to tell and you want to get it out. The first thing you have to do is to organize yourself. That's very critical. You have to organize yourself. When I first started teaching writing back in the early mid-90s, it was, you write everything down. But no, I tell everybody to just get them a thumb drive, create folders, and start writing ideas down. And as you get more ideas and you create more Word documents, you're starting to see your story come together. Just write. I have a colleague at work at Cross Keys High School, great math teacher, Armando Gil. And the things I told him was, get it out. And he's getting it out slowly. Get it out. You have to want to get it out. And then once you get it out, then you can start organizing. That's the first thing of writing. You can't edit or write on the page. It's like the wall behind you and the wall behind me is blank. I mean, that's what it is. You have to get words on a page to do something with. And I'll be very blunt with it. You have to just get it on page. And just get your ideas down. It'll come to you. The writing is creative. It's not math where you're going to say 2 + 2 = 4. It's not math. You have to really just get your ideas down on paper. If you have, for example, I tell you what, my next story it's called Killer Kudzu. And this is now go from young adult to science fiction. I was in church, and one of my church friends, Charles Webb, and he's from South Georgia. So he said, Julius, I got an idea for you to write a story. I said, what? He says, suppose the kudzu turns carnivorous and start eating people. And I said, what? I said, kudzu? But once he gave me that germ of idea, I developed that. And that book coming out in January, and people read that, say it's scary. So they never look at kudzu the same again. I came with a good idea. I talked to some scientists. I figured out a way it could happen. And so that book is coming out in January, February in the winter. And so
Wow.
that's idea, but idea was for someone talking to you. You may have a friend that say something. Some people I've helped over the years to write memoirs, and but if you ever deal with a memoir, it can be very, very painful, very painful. And so what happened was I would tell them, and so when they come to class, I said, first of all, go to the dollar store, get you a box of tissue because you're going to need. Second thing, when you start to write everything like it is, like it happened. Don't change the names, don't change the places, don't change the sequence of events. But he said, what happened when you ready to publish? I said, it's very simple. When you publish it, you change the name, you change the sex, you change the place, and you have everything there. But if you don't do it, it won't come out real. And I mean, I know that readers are smart. You may fool them once, but next time I'm not reading that man again because
Yeah, you're right about that. I had interviewed an author that did a memoir, and she had to go back in time, and she said it was painful.
Yes.
And she got through it, and had asked her, I believe her former husband, he helped to fill in the gap. And they have a great relationship where he was like, yeah, I got you, because she was trying to remember all these things. Because, trauma is real and it could trigger you.
Yes.
So, I would tell people if they're going to do a memoir, which I have never even thought about doing yet, because I know I have to go back. It's like, oh. But, pace yourself if you're going to do that, because you are going to be opening up some boxes of your life that you haven't really, you kind of put it off, let the dust settle over and you like, that happened way back when. But it is important to tell the truth. And I think it's very helpful as well to help others find their truth and have their own authentic voice. That's what it's about, is being in your own truth. And ain't nothing wrong with being in your own truth. Nobody can refute that.
No. I know when I was doing Purple Phantoms, it was hard some nights because it brought up back memories. I mean, vivid memories, of me looking at, when they opened the casket. I shouldn't have looked at it because I wanted to remember him when I went. And I remember once it happened, once James was killed, I had my room set up a certain way because he would walk in and see me in a certain way. He'd come sit at a certain desk. So I went back in and I changed the whole thing around because I could not believe that he was gone.
Right.
He was not. And so when you do things like that and you write, it's going to come up. Things are going to come up that you thought you totally forgotten. I remember when I was doing the trilogy with Brownstone and Philly and Ghost of Atlanta, and all those things came up that I thought I'd forgotten for years. And I said, oh my God, this is something I'm shocked that I remembered this. But it was painful, but I had to get through it. And so that was hard. Another thing is when I had to murder my first person in the book, that was hard.
Oh no, that's always hard. The first one, look, people don't understand. We really feel it because that character been traveling with us during this journey in the story. So when you have to kill it out, you do have a little tear that come through your eye. You like, oh God.
I know in Brownstone, I killed the character because it had to be, because it moved the story along further. So I had to do that. Well, when I was talking about going to learning about writing, there was a writers' conference in Athens, Georgia, and here in Georgia we have what we call the Varsity, which is like White Castle, that place where people go eat. So the morning we went to the session where we had police officers coming in talking about forensics and how they go file who's who and the things they did and the type of people that was killed and how they was killed. So we in there, it's 7 of us at a table. Remember, think about it's packed. You've been in a place they're packed. So we started to talk about killing people and what's the best way to kill people. And we look up around us. The whole side of the place was empty because they thought we was talking something for real about killing people, and not realizing that
Them people
My
were
friend said,
eavesdropping.
"They're writers.
They were ear
Writers.
hustling, and they was like, "Oh, we gotta go. They ain't gonna
You
take
gotta go.
us out."
This is Memphis.
Oh man, that is
We had to
crazy.
get scream. No, we writers. We writers. We don't do that. We don't do that. We don't do that
Jeez.
for real.
It's
For real
called
people.
research, but they wouldn't know.
Yes.
It's research. You do have to research things because, as you mentioned before, it's not authentic, and somebody could read it that could be like somebody that's in that area of life, and they'd be like, "This don't make no sense. Like how they did this." So you do have to research it, and if you don't know it, find a person who does that job. They can inform you of XYZ, so it is authentic. It's just like the movie, TV shows that we see. They consult with the police, they consult with the medical professionals or whatever the industry is, so they can have a more authentic information relating to characters, to medicine, to procedures. And we can't, I mean, yeah, we writers and we fictionalize a lot of stuff, but we can't make up certain procedures and things that's supposed to be real. Like we need to make sure we write it like it's supposed to happen, because then it is not going to be authentic. So
I learned that from free writers who very, very precise, and everything is organized, and so I learned if you said this is going to be anything like that in your novel, make sure it's correct. Because people look, I tell you, Pam, in the Brownsville and Brooklyn, I use real streets.
That's actually good.
From Bed-Stuy Street to the ocean, straight down. Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, because those people don't know it's not real. They don't talk about
I got a. Hold on, I got a call. How they got that number? No, I got a call from a lady who said, "You from Brooklyn?" And they don't cross. You're not from Brooklyn. She went off about 15 minutes about it. I said, I'm sorry. So I changed it very fast. So
I know some people will call us on it, whether they call you or they gonna inbox you on social media and saying, "Yeah, I gotta talk to you about what you wrote because we gotta talk." So people are serious when they be reading your books now. They take it personal too.
Very serious.
They take it very, very serious. So, why was it important in this book to talk about the idea of redemption? I know with young people, a lot of times we don't talk about the idea of redemption. We just say, you get in trouble, that's it, your life has changed forever. But we don't talk about the ability to go back and rewrite your story, because we all have sinned and come close to making some real major mistakes, whether we're a young person or not. But for young people, it's very critical the messages they get on their life and whether they're able to rewrite their story.
I felt redemption is very important in this book because in the book, some ghosts are not good people. They were not good people, and their life ended because of that. Right. And I think, as a person who try to live a good life, I think that everyone should have a chance to try to redeem themselves and try to do something good. And I think as in Purple Phantoms, you have ghosts who came back and changed the person. And because the person was going very wrong, very bad, and he knew the person knew him. So he was able to change that person. And the one thing about having the ghosts and the people, they can talk. And I got a great comment from one of my former readers, and she said that she loved the fact that the way I introduced the ghosts with their partner, it was so seamless. It was like they were just one person, and when they came together, like one person, and they were able to help each other. Redemption is important today because I see it all the time. I've seen, I saw a freshman at school I teach at now the boy was just, I said, no, he's going no good. I mean, he's just not getting no good.
Going down the wrong road.
He way past the wrong path. But people work with him, and he had a life, really a tough. I can't get in detail. He had a tough situation that happened, not scared straight, but almost.
Mm.
And he changed him. He redeemed himself. He's going to graduate, and he's headed to school and do some things with his life. And I think that we have to show young people you can change. Things are not always going to be good. Some
Right.
things, and I tell from teaching, and you also know, Pam, from teaching, that sometimes some of these kids just do good just to walk through that door. Because what they have to go through to get through that door is incredible. I know when I was in the school, it was June. If you're in Georgia, it's hot. And this young lady, my student, she would wear sweaters in the May and June, long sleeve sweaters. Everything was long sleeve. So one day we was talking, and she's kind of light skinned, and we were talking, and she said, "Cook, can I show you something?" Pam, her arm was black and blue all the way up.
Yeah, that's the reason why she was wearing that. Yeah.
Yes. So I did was, in Georgia, you have to tell, or you can go to jail. You're
a mandated reporter. You're mandated.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's state law. If you don't do it, they can arrest you.
Yes,
so I told, and then they don't tell you nothing else. They don't say nothing else to you because they want you involved. They don't say nothing else to you. They said thank you. They take care of the situation, and she was taken care of. And it goes back to being redeemed and not following because this person did this. Now I got to do that. No, I don't want that. And what I try to do with this book and my teaching is to tell young people you can do it. I remember when I left Georgia and went to New York City, and at the height of segregation, and I had this English teacher. Her name was Miss Egan. And I said, I was nervous, and I walked in, and people who listen tonight who went to school with me know that she was a great teacher. And she looked, and I looked at her and I said, "I want to be a writer." And she just said 2 words to me, and I never looked back. Do it. And I never stopped. And that's the way I try to teach my students. Don't look back. Nothing can hold you back, whether you're a student athlete, a nerd, or whatever. Don't look back. Fight for what you want. Fight for what you want. And never, ever look back, and never, ever let anything hold you back. And that's what my philosophy is to do it. And you wonder why you said something about books being written. I grew up in New York City on the corner of Gates and Nostrand Avenue. So I know what goes on there. I could just as easily written about, what went on in the hood. But when Brooklyn at that time was not the hood where I was. It was mom and pop stores. It was Mr. Possum's candy store. Mr. Possum was lived above the candy store. The fishmonger, he lived above the store. You had the butcher above the store. You even had, in our block, we had 3 funeral homes. They lived above the stores. And so you saw people, regular people. And I tell people can't believe this. In Brooklyn in my day in the 60s, which I wrote about in Brown Street in Brooklyn, a lot of us didn't lock our doors. We did not. You tell people that your
doors were open, everybody come in. It's no big deal. I mean, it's just how it was. So
you knew everybody the block. Who not on that block? Once they crossed that block, and nobody don't know before they got 2 houses down, people are looking. So it was not. So what I try to do is in my novels is to say it's a different perspective than what people normally expect. It's not going to be the hood. It's not going to be somebody, with drugs. Yeah, there are drugs and gangs and things that I write about, but it's not like the thing that's the overriding thing. That if you're putting you down, that you have. That's not me, because I'm more of a positive kind of person. I want to see things go forward. I do not want to see things go backwards, and I don't want to see the negative. I want to see the positive in our community. And that's why I did Prepper Phantoms in all my books, because I want people to see that Black people can do things. And we are very creative. You creative, I'm creative. There are very creative people in this, more creative than we are in this world, and just never had a chance to. I remember this kid I know at school. He was brilliant at math, fam. I say brilliant. I mean, he finished every math class by the time he was a junior. But he became a numbers runner, and people old school don't mean he became a numbers runner on the streets of Brooklyn. They could never catch him because guess what the numbers were in his head, along with
Oh,
he could associate the
good.
number and the person
Wow.
together. So cops come up, yeah, I have nothing. Look, I have nothing. I have nothing.
They were looking for pieces of paper, and it was right here. Oh wow, that's
and that same
really,
person could have been a
that's really
great,
smart though.
yeah, a great engineer. He could have been anything. And I look at some of the people who I grew up with, and I see what they doing now. Old as I am, I can go back to Brooklyn now in the same corner. I see the same knuckleheads doing the same dumb things on the same dumb corners they did when I was.
Exactly.
So in my books and stuff and my teaching and coaching, I try to get people to understand that it just takes direction. It just takes parents who really push you and to be what you can become. And it demands teachers. Teachers are important. People understand. Teachers, coaches are important because they change lives. I mean, when you're a coach and that child calls you at 3 a.m. because mama's about to stab him and you got to go get him and get him out there to keep him alive. And you're a regular teacher. And next morning, you back up teaching in front of the classroom like nothing happened. People don't understand and I admire any teacher and any coach, people don't understand what the influence they have and how they have changed people's lives. And so to get back to your point,
I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing what can happen when you connect with a young person, but it also requires us as adults to, one, take them as they are.
Yes.
2, not try to make them be a cookie cut of a character. I mean, they are who they are. And creating safe spaces for young people are sorely lacking with educators. And you sound like you already understand these young people. They will call you if there's an emergency. Yep. I've had young people say, "Hey, Miss Osby, can I come stay with you?" I'm like, "No, you can't." When I was mentoring, my girls were always trying to come to our house, I did have an open policy, but at some point, you got to have some boundaries because you can't just have them pop in because they have a mom, they have a dad, but you're a safe space for them. And I think it's very important. I see this book as a book that, an adult and a young person can read together and talk about things and share about their own generational issues. Like, our generation had different issues growing up. This generation has different issues growing up, and especially now we're in a pandemic, so it's completely different. But it's important to have that open space and communication with these young people, and they're often forgotten, because we're preaching to them, and your book is not preaching to them. It's like actually amplifying their environment and their world. So they can have that conversation with their mom, their dad, maybe a mentor or something like that.
And what it does, Pam, is real people in real situations, and it's young people facing situations today, facing situations where this happened years ago, but it's still happening today. I mean, it's still happening today. People are making, the great point you made was redemption, good decisions, bad decisions. When some ghosts came back, they were redeemed. When some ghosts came back, they continued to help. When some ghosts came back, they helped fulfill a dream. So when they left and went back, and it's another twist to this, they don't go back by themselves. The 5 go back, but they'll not go back by themselves. And when they go back, it's 2 or 3 little twists in that really catches the interest of people. But when they go back, now they're not restless, because that's the opening of the book when I said they're restless. Now they go back, they are not restless anymore because they have redeemed themselves, they have fulfilled a dream, and they have helped someone improve themselves and get better and better and better.
That's wonderful. So as we end our show, we only have a few minutes left, unfortunately, but this has been a great interview. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
So what is next you have any upcoming literary podcast interviews, something going on next?
Now, right now, this is the only thing I have, Pam. When I contacted you, I really wanted to get interviewed by you because I wanted to really make this strong. Because for the next few months, it's going to be hard because I'm republishing some of the other books on another platform. I'm finishing up Killer Kudzu, and that's coming out in January. So that's being done. So it's a lot of things going on, and probably won't do anything again until maybe the early fall. So I really want to have something strong right now, just to get this book a big push.
Oh,
and,
yeah, definitely.
And if things work out and it gets some awards and things, and I'm gonna be very happy. And it's not because personal, but I think as a writer, I've had some great honors, and I admit I have some great honors. I've got 4 or 5 books in libraries from New York to Philadelphia to Atlanta. I was as a self-published author. My novel was put on the Barnes and Noble bookshelves, on the bookshelves.
That's
not
great.
Online, but on the
Not many
bookshelves.
people can say they have that. Okay.
And I got the pictures to prove it. And so it's been a lot of things that really have happened that have really been positive. But I wanted to try this young adult. I try different genres. I'm mostly a mainstream. I'm, like I said, trying the young adult. Then I have the science fiction coming out. Now the novel after that is going to be probably my darkest novel. It's called Stormy Winds, and it's going to deal with some life situations, and it's going to be like Macbeth is to Shakespeare. It won't be. Most of my books are upbeat and everything. This is not upbeat.
Going to the dark side. Okay, I see.
Going to the dark side. Going to the dark side. And so people said, they said, I said, people may not like it, because I said, it's something I got to do. Like I got to try different things, and I come back to other books.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So what? Where can people find you? Social media handles or websites? You can go ahead and share that.
Yes, I'm on Facebook, and it's just Julius E. Thompson. I'm on Twitter, Julius Thompson, Instagram, Julius Thompson, and LinkedIn, Julius Thompson. You can contact me. I've also helped. Another thing I do is kind of busy is when writers need help sometime, because I did teach for 8 years creative writing. They will come to me sometime, and I will help them a lot. You know, we go a lot of things with them. So if anyone needs help, anything or anything, when they get the books are everywhere. I mean, this book is in Ingram Sparks. It's all over. So it made in bookstores. I never had made books before. That's why I'm moving all my books to Ingram Sparks, because they really.
Oh, Ingram is the best. When I redo all my books, because I used to go through Ingram a long time ago, and that platform is really better for us, right, to have more control over it. Yes. Because the problem is that you get on Amazon or somebody else, and then it's just, you got certain requirements to stay there, and then if you want to take your book, it becomes like a lot of red tape. So it's better to go through an Ingram.
And what I like about Pam is, for the first time, my book is in about 15 independent bookstores. For the first time, that normally wouldn't do it, because Ingram Sparks, they do it because of the relationship they have with Ingram Sparks. I'm just happy because it's all over. I'm probably going to go to the small town where the book is about. They have a bookstore, and I'm going to be able to go to the same town and do a book signing there in the fall. And
that's good. I mean, that's great. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. So it's going to be busy. And my website is, I'm glad you put that up, JuliusThompsonAuthor.com. It's got everything there. It's got some great book trailers that you can see the book trailers.
Yeah, you got some good book trailers. Man, you got some real good book trailers. So.
And it's the whole website of book trailers.
It's a whole website of a lot of great information. This is an excellent author, writer, and multiple genres. I'm sure you'll find something for you, yourself, your family member. You can start shopping early for the holidays. We still here, but I'm just saying, people. I know some people shop all year long, And then like when the fall come, they already did their shopping. So just saying. Any last words as we segment out?
I like to talk to all writers and just say just something I always tell Pam at the end of everything I say is just 3 lines I know. Keep writing, keep believing, and never, ever give up on your dreams.
Thank you again, Julius. Best of luck. And, I'm going to be here for a while. So if you want to come back, you are more than welcome.
Thank you. Invite anytime. I would love to. I would just love to. I've enjoyed this so much.
This has been awesome. And I thank you for your time, and everyone else. Hey, pass this on. I'm going to be posting it everywhere that I can. And look for me on Saturday. I am featured poet with Poets with Purpose. I will post the link under this description most likely. And if you want to, on Saturday night or after Saturday, you could go to the Poets with Purpose YouTube page. I'm one of the featured artists. So yeah, that's that. But thank you again, Julius. You have a great evening.
Thank you.
Y'all, that was cool, right? Hey, y'all. We had another good show. I thank you guys for being with me tonight. And I look forward to seeing you in the next live stream, whatever that is. You know me. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Welcome to my channel. Please click, like, and share. Thank you.